Hey guys, it's Dr. Renee Pleasant, Pleasant Leadership Consulting, where we inspire your leadership freedom. Welcome back to our YouTube channel, and if you haven't done so, please go ahead and subscribe. And while you're there, why don't you go ahead and recommend it to one of your friends? So today begins our new series on effective communications, and can't we all benefit from just learning something from communicating better? So in this series, I think I have 7 or 8 parts, but let's go ahead and let's just begin the series right now. Hey guys, it's Dr. Renee Pleasant at Pleasant Leadership Consulting, where we inspire your leadership freedom. Welcome back to week 3 inside our series, Effective Communication. And this week we're talking about where we communicate. Now, that sounds obvious, but is it? Let's go ahead and begin. Okay, if you've been in my workshops, you've probably seen this graphic before because I freaking love it. I love puppies. I love dogs, and this just cracks me up every time. So it's one of my favorites. So if you're as mature or as wise as I am, that's another word for old. Face to face is something that we were just raised to do. It was just how we were brought up. You communicate with people face to face, you make eye contact with them, the whole thing. However, the younger generation, that is something we actually have to drill into them, because their idea of communication is this. It is face to screen. And it's hard for those of us who are seasoned to have a conversation with them because we feel like we have to talk to their screen. So there is power in making eye contact with people. There is power when you talk to them to see their facial expression. And we have to also consider the fact that if you work with me and we do the DISC analysis, that you have to consider that some of the people, I'm speaking to those of us who are the seasoned in the room, that our facial expressions don't always portray who our emotions, because we're a little bit more guarded and cautious. But there is power in reading their eyes and reading their expressions and knowing them. But there is value in face to face, and there is value in looking in a person's eye and not at their screen. So communication is an art form that we are losing to technology. And I challenge you as leaders and aspiring leaders to get back to that. And I love technology. Don't hear what I'm not saying, but we really do need to have more one-on-ones with people, and where we're looking at their faces and not looking at their profile online, or looking at their their pictures. Phones. Some people are very attached to their phones. Some people cannot be away from their phones. Like, it is a serious condition, dare I say, a syndrome. Some people have no sense of barrier or boundaries with their phone. They will hold a conversation that probably should be private in a public space. People will text nonstop during a conversation with you or during a meeting. There are people who will constantly check their phone while they're supposedly having a conversation with you. And there needs to be some etiquette about the phone. One of the things that irritates me is in a meeting, someone's checking their phone, and then as they're putting it down, they're putting it down so loudly. I'm like, dude, do that. Just keep it in your lap. It's not making near as much noise when you're putting it on your body as it is on the tabletop. You're way more of a distraction putting it back onto the table than if you just put it back in your lap. So I understand that given your industry, that the phone is a tool in certain industries. I get it. It can be a necessary tool in your industry. So I'm not saying that phones have to be outside, that they can't be part of your job. So I get that. But I think there needs to be some phone etiquette. So, and we can't assume that everybody has the same understanding. So there's a couple meetings that I go to. I honestly feel like we need to announce that everybody please silence your phones. And if you have to be in communication with your people, then I'm seriously considering in one meeting giving everybody a mouse pad so that when they put their phone down, it's on a silent surface, because all the people picking up their phone and putting it down, it gets to be distracting. I mean, think about that. You pick it up, you put it down. You pick it up, you put it down. Those are distracting for those of us who are ADD. Um, you know, I don't need any more. I got enough squirrels in my own head. I don't need them in the room for me to be chasing. But we need to have common norms or common agreements on how phones were going to be used in the workplace. And we need to have that in place, and we need to come to an agreement on how we're going to use phones in the workplace. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it has to be um, they have to be banned in the workplace, because I don't think that's realistic. That's not the world we live in. But I do believe we all have to come into agreement on how they're going to be used. And I do think it's very disrespectful that if you are having a conversation with someone, that you're constantly checking your phone or you're texting on the phone with somebody. Now, I understand that there's things that come up. You've got a elderly family member or something like that, but preface that in the meeting. It's like, hey, thank you for meeting with me today, but just so you know, my mother fell. She hurt her hip. She's having surgery, and I'm checking in with my sister to find out how recovery went or how the operation went, rather than just checking to find out if your 13-year-old got home from school like she does every day, and we're just having a meeting. Come on. It's a tool. It's not your heartbeat. Okay. If it hasn't happened to you yet, it will. Email. You hit send when you shouldn't have. Yeah. I've done it. I've read the emails where they've done it. It's not pretty. But you know what? It's one of those things that, yeah, it just happens, and you just wish it didn't. It does. It happens, and you go on. One of the things I can tell you is, please, 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 please think before you hit send. Think before you hit reply all. Oh my goodness, reply all is probably one of the buttons I wish just did not exist at all. That's one of the buttons I just wish we just did not have. Um, to make your communications most effective, I would seriously advise you to check your email like twice a day. And I have, as a leader, especially on heated emails, I save it as a draft. And I come back an hour later, I set my alarm, and I come back an hour later before I hit send to find out, do I still feel the same way? And I usually draft my response in a Word document. That way I know I'm not going to accidentally send it, because that's how I learned. I didn't mean to send it. I was just venting. So I vent in a Word document, then I cut and paste it in my email before I send it. That way, so you don't have to eat crow as often when it's saved in a Word document. But I come back an hour later and I find out if my emotions are still the same, because it's never a good idea to reply in an emotional state. It's always a better idea to reply in a logical state. And sometimes I don't reply within an hour. Sometimes I reply in a day. Sometimes what I do is I reply, say, I received your email. I will get back to you in 24 hours, because people want to know that that you're thinking about it, or that that they've been heard. So don't reply all. Don't reply in haste, and don't reply in hot emotion. That would be my advice to you about communicating. Um, emails gone bad. There's a video for you. Emails gone bad. So following up to my suggested video of emails gone bad, instant messages gone bad. Whoo! The stories I could tell, the HR investigations. Well, I can't tell those because that would be violation, but oh, instant messages can get you into a heap of trouble. Big, huge. Hmm. You know, some of the best advice my mama ever gave me, and I still use it today. When in doubt, don't. Best advice she ever gave me. When in doubt, don't. And I think it applies here to instant messages. So one of my favorite work platforms is Slack, and I'm a huge proponent of it. I love it. But Slack offers an instant message platform. Sometimes those who don't know Slack don't realize it's not always private. You see where I'm going with this? Yeah. And like anything else out on in technology or out on the web, not everything is always private. And I used to have a tech guy who loved to show me how gifted he was in the technology world and how he could uncover anything that the public thought was private or my employees thought were private. Yeah, so that's two video ideas for you. Emails gone bad, instant messages gone bad. My point is, instant messages are great if they are done in the in the light that they were meant to be. If you are working in this cubicle and you want to message somebody in another part of the building and you want to converse about a project, fantastic. But very quickly, they can go wrong. And for whatever reason, people think that IMs are invisible. IM does not mean I am invisible. All I can say is IMs and emails make for some very interesting HR investigations. So be careful. IMs do not equal invisibility. So we mentioned earlier that cell phones really can't be banned in the business world, and I'm not here to say that they shouldn't be. So if you're using your cell phone to communicate with customers, then or your clients, then you need to have a professional presence in your text messages. And that seems like a Captain Obvious statement, but I'm saying it for a reason. Okay? So when you're texting your customers, or you're texting your clients, you're texting your business associates, leave the slang out of it. Leave all the texting shortcuts. Leave those things out and limit your emojis. Okay? You need to have a professional appearance in your texting. Again, I'm saying it for a reason. Okay, this is my third attempt to say this with a straight face, and I just don't know that I can. So at at the beginning of COVID, and we were all on Zoom, and there was like all of these videos going around, and I'm like, oh, that won't happen to me. That's just like that was amplified. That's made up. That's just for social media. Zoom calls gone bad. People not realizing that the camera is a wide view or okay, here's a little video conference 101. Even though your screen is this big, okay, your camera is wider, okay? You can see this much on your monitor, but the camera captures more, right? That's why I have my green screen up here because I want you to see my messy office. So, um, people who are watching you on their monitor are watching you plus everything back here, everything that's going on. So they're watching people who are in your house, people they're watching everything you're doing. So like right now, I'm fully dressed. I know that in Zoom calls, people like to dress from the waist, the waist up. So, and I admit sometimes I do that. I just wear, like comfortable like yoga pants or shorts, and then wear a dressy top. Today I'm actually wearing a dress. Okay, so like I'm totally dressed. But if you were to stand up and see that maybe you were wearing your unmentionables, like nothing but your unmentionables, we see that on Zoom. Or if we were to see your significant other walking around with or without clothing, we see that. And at first, like I said, at COVID, I thought that was just like sensationalism. No, 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 no. That's reality. That is reality. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen that. And I was like, what? As my grandson would say, what? I was like, no. So when you are on the video calls, like I actually had to like in my household, it's just my husband and I, but like we have a rule. When my office door is closed, no one comes in. And I say no one because it's just he and I, but no one comes in until the door is open. Like this is sacred space until that door opens because I did he's not part of the call. It's a work call. It's not a show. It, am I right? I would love, love for anybody watching this segment to drop your comments below and share your video conference mayhem moment. Please, 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 please share your video conference mayhem moment below. I, I, I gotta hear this or read this. Okay, so I share with you the work management platforms, and I personally have experience with Slack, and I enjoy it. There are many others out there. When you are working with those platforms, there are parts that are group um, specific. There, the groups can interact with one another. They can do their instant messaging. Sometimes those are group. You guys think it's you think it's private, but those are open to the group. And then there are parts that you can just speak to one another one on one, like a chat. Those are great platforms. I highly recommend them. They're great for productivity. They're great for communication. They build team bonding. They're fantastic when used correctly. I'm a big proponent of it, but be careful. They're not they're not confidential. So know that. Well, that wraps up this week's series. But I would like for you to come back next week as we continue the series on effective communication. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel on Leadership University so that you are alerted every week when we upload our video or whenever I drop another video on the channel, because you never know when something new is coming up. Take care, lead well, and have a stellar day until we meet again. Well, that wraps up the end of this series, but a new series is coming soon. So if you haven't done so, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here for Leadership University. We will be starting a new series next week, so you don't want to miss that. If you haven't done so, please go ahead and visit our website. We have a lot of fun workshops that are tailored for pretty much any leadership need you have. And if you just don't see what you're looking for, well, email us and we'll do one for you, just for you. I would love to read your comments and your feedback on this series, and if you have a series you would like to see, I welcome that idea as well. So until I see you next week, I hope every day you have is stellar, and I wish you the best. And until then, lead well.